Hello folks, Ricky Tang here, and today, thanks to the lovely folks at Fraser's of Gloucester, thank you very much guys, be taking out the Aprilia Tuareg 660, as long as I put the gloves on the right hands first. I was a little concerned about the seat height. Mind you, my legs aren't too bad, 32-inch inside leg, so I didn't think I have a big problem, but I was still concerned. It's higher than most seats I end up sitting on. Most of the bikes I ride are road bikes. The seat height I'll put onto the screen now. But I've had a tentative little sit on it, and yeah, I can get the balls of my feet down, no problem. I might even be able to get a camera down for you, so we'll have a look. Can you see that? Not so easy to see from this angle, but yeah, balls of the feet down quite comfortably. I'm not very used to adventure bikes, off-road style bikes, so first thing that strikes me is I can see above roofs of cars, so I do enjoy that higher riding position that comes with these machines. I have riding modes down here on the bottom right, underneath the kill and run switch. Light options at the top here, switch between DRLs and low beams. On left hand side, your various menu navigation buttons, if you can see that. Indicator, horn at the bottom, cruise control at the top, flash button up ahead, just kind of by my index finger. So I'll have to disappoint some of you if you've maybe not seen my channel before. This is a demo machine. I'm not looking to purchase it. This is not a test ride as such with a view to purchasing. So despite it being a capable off-road bike, unfortunately I won't be taking it off-road, especially since it's been raining quite heavily in recent days. So what looks like grass on some fields may well be muddy. So this is more of a road assessment. Switch off now if that's of no interest to you. So I'll mainly be playing with the riding modes as they pertain to road riding. Good test of throttle response at different revs, see how it pulls, see how it swings around corners with this 21-inch front wheel. So yeah, we'll put some fuel in and we'll throw the bike around some bends. Let's have some fun. Okay, first thing I've noticed that this bike does not come with a quick shifter. That's fine, now that I know. Change gears the old-fashioned way. I'm 5'7" or 170 centimeters, by the way. My back is bolt upright. You know, it's a dirt bike styling. Handlebars are pretty wide. Don't think I'd want them any wider. My legs are going almost straight down below the knee, just a couple of degrees back. Yeah, so it's very upright riding position here. Let's get around the roundabout. Oh, nice. No obvious strangeness going around the bend due to the 21-inch front wheel. Went round quite nicely. Neutral went in quite easily. Side stands easy to find. So far, so practical. Not a big fan of the loose, separate petrol cap though, gotta admit. Gotta put it somewhere where it doesn't potentially leak fuel. That'll do. There you go for posterity. £2, well, £2 1 per litre. Put in 9 litres just under, and this cost me £18. Big oof. I did put in the good stuff though, to be fair. That's what I tend to do on these demo bikes, because I'm good like that. Snicked into first quite nicely. No clunk, just a click. Right, so let's slow down a lot. Where are we? 7.6, 5 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour. Just trickling. Impressively well balanced. The only thing that is a concern is just as I let the clutch out, the revs drop a little bit. I'm just a little concerned that I might accidentally stall it while trying to just pulling away gently. I think I would appreciate Suzuki's approach, where they have this, I can't quite remember what it's called now. I think it might be a pull away assist, where it actually adds a few revs as you let the clutch out. Now, from what I recall, this windscreen up ahead is not adjustable. You'd have to fit a different screen or some sort of flip up or addition to the screen if you'd want some different wind flow. And what I'm finding is I'm getting an awful lot of turbulence. A bit noisy here and a bit buffety. I can feel the wind being churned up here. I can feel it hitting me in the chest. I don't normally wear these trousers on a bike ride, not often. I just thought it might rain today, so these are not my jeans, and they're kind of a bit more flexible, but I do feel the wind kind of churning up the front of the trousers down by, you know, just above my feet. So there's a fair bit of wind being knocked about as it comes over this bike or comes around it. Yeah, I've got to say, not impressed with the wind, but other people, other shapes and sizes will have different experiences. Wow! That induction roar when you twist the throttle back, that is addictive. Hold on a minute. Let's give it another little go. Ready? That does remind me a lot of the RS and the Throttle. Unsurprisingly, same engine, but does sound good. Since it's a smaller engine and it's not a 1200 or a 1000, you can use more of the revs, be a bit more engaged getting down the road. Potentially good fun. Now I've sped up a bit. I'm finding the suspension, albeit fully adjustable, is currently on the firm side, just in terms of dealing with the little lumps and bumps in the road. No complaints, but basically, yeah, I don't need to, I don't think, make any adjustments to have a bit of a boogie on the road. So yeah, with the mid-range here, I am about there. You give them, I think I've said this on another bike, I can't quite remember what bike it was though. You give the throttle a little bit of a twist and it kind of leaps forward very keenly. But if you give the throttle a bigger twist, that initial kind of jump just peters out quite quickly. Still accelerates, but not quite with the gusto of the first kind of eighth of a turn or so. Ooh. Just a little bit of extra front brake there just to test it out. Slows you down pretty quick. Picks up again out the other side pretty quick. Right, let's do a little bit of on-off throttle action to see how throttle response is. I did feel a bit of a jerk earlier, which is why I'm for various reasons, but yeah, I'm just trying to repeat the little jerk I had with the throttle response earlier, and I can't repeat it yet. It's coming on and off the throttle nicely. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't want to use a Ponzi term, the juxtaposition. It's kind of like a rev happy engine that's quite quick to pull through the revs in this you know, quite tall, rangy, long wheelbase chassis. Having said that, like I mentioned, the suspension's quite firm. It's not a road bike, or, you know, it doesn't handle like a conventional road bike. This much is obvious. but for an off-road bike it seems to be quite road orientated. Oh, there, just as I pulled the throttle back at just under 3,000 RPM, just a little bit of a jump forward then. So it's not foolproof, the fueling at low revs. I felt a lot worse. It's just not, you know, perfect. So, some nationals are approaching, but I'm not going to start going quick straight away. I'm just going to see if I can make any comments on the torque. I'm in 5th gear. And just see if I can feel any peaks and troughs as I open the throttle up. Not really. Oh, that did pretty well actually. Didn't feel any obvious flat spots as I wound the throttle open. So 4th gear. What was it like from 3,000 to 4,000? Let's give it a twist. Yeah, the touch slow, the touch sedate, but it was alright. Didn't bog down. Wait till I get to the flat bit and I'll give it 4 to 5 in 4th gear. Yeah, nice. 4 to 5 is fun. 5 to 6, it is a little bit of an uphill. Oh, it's flattening off a little bit now. 5 to 6. Decent, yeah. No holding back there. 6 to 7. Getting a bit angry now. I can't do much more now. Traffic's in the way. Here we are, nearly at 7. Back at 7. Give it a twatting. Oh yeah. Alright, 8 and 9. Noisy. It's noisy between 8 and 9. Seem to be maybe just tailing off a little bit. The mid-range is where it's at. I know I'm stating the obvious there, but now you've kind of seen it for yourself, hopefully. When I pull away, I am giving it a bit of throttle. I'm not just trying to let the clutch out with no throttle applied. It seems like it wants just a little bit more throttle than most other bikes when you pull away. Just a little bit. You'll get used to it, I'm sure. The clutch is not span adjustable. Just got the cable adjuster there. Brake lever is span adjustable, which is good. Liking the clocks. Shame the screen's not a bit bigger. I mean, there's some huge bezels there where the idiot lights are located. You could have fitted a bigger screen in there, couldn't you, Aprilia? What is nice is we have quite a flat, long seat with no step that I can feel. No, it's a nice flat seat. So you've got plenty of room if you're one up anyway, if you're solo, to move around. In fact, I've sat back a good distance there. I don't feel stupidly sat back like I might on a road bike, and it's given me an extra kind of ½ inch or so of height, so I can actually see over cars a bit easier. If I had time, I might actually soften off the suspension, to be honest with you, because these are the undulations in the road. The tyres aren't quite keeping up or staying glued to the road. As if I don't know, I'm no suspension expert, but I'd take a guess that rebound damping is a tad high. So it's taking a little while for the wheels to kind of extend again from a compression. That's the layman's observations. Yeah, bend swinging for a bike of this style. Like I said, it's not a road bike in terms of handling, really, but it's coping well. Right. So, what we got in individual. Let's have a little play with one on the traction control, see what that does to us. I can tell you that the front end, yeah, is more willing to come up now on one. I can tell you, but I can't really show you. Ooh! I had the front end come up a little bit higher than I expected. What was nice is when I set the front end down in a bit of a panic, it was very well damped. That aspect of the suspension was really high in quality, I thought. Very settled as it came back down again. So here we are with this acid yellow, oh acid gold, sorry, not acid yellow, 80 horsepower, angry little off-road road bike. Now I've never ridden a Yamaha TDR 250, but I don't know, it just, from what I've heard about the bike, the legend about that bike, this seems to be kind of in that vein, a slightly unhinged road bike. Not unhinged as in bad handling, just fun in a way you wouldn't expect it to be. Like I said, 80 horsepower at 9250 RPM, 70 Newton meters at 6,500 RPM. Like I say, a couple of thousand RPM down on the RS model. Well, there we go with that 13.5 to 1 compression ratio. I would have thought they might have lowered that. That's pretty extreme for a road bike, I think. Same as its sisters, the Tuareg and the RS. 1542, there's the sprocket sizes. I was thinking that when I was cruising earlier on, the revs are a tad high, but yeah, it's supposed to be an off-road style bike, so you want some lower gearing, I think, for off-road action. So I kind of understand where they're coming from, I think, with that. It's not a interstate Muncher, is it, at the end of the day? Although, I think it could do well if I get a different screen. So, let's go down. Odo, trip meter, time, which I think is an hour slow. Max speed you don't want to see. Well, you do, but I'm not going to show you. Doing 48 miles per gallon so far. You've got 2 trip meters, all kind of the same information. You can just choose which one you want to present as the default option as you spin around the settings. You've got A and B, you can switch between with the right button there. Then we've got some settings, dashboard, units. Oh, that didn't go to plan. Oh yeah, units. Yeah, speed, temperature, fuel consumption, clock settings, language, obviously English. Service, I don't need service stuff. Let's not go there. Riding mode. So I'll go off-road and see what's in there. ATC 1, ABS 1, reset AEM, and engine brake. I think that is a bit higher on the engine brake there. If I go urban, let's have a little look there. Yeah, traction control higher setting. What can you do? Oh, you can't adjust it actually. I thought you could adjust that, but you can't. ABS. Can't adjust. Yeah, presets here. Management you can't adjust. Engine brake you can't adjust. So let's go back. Is that the same for Explore? Can't adjust them. Yeah. So these settings are preset. I'm mashing the right button on the switch gear to see if I can adjust them. Yeah. So off-road you can adjust. Individual you can adjust. But Explore and Urban it won't let you play with. Fine by me. That's enough adjustment to keep you busy, I think. Oh, what else do I see? Vehicle calibration, don't know what that's all about. I won't mess about with that. Shift light we changed, emergency brake, can't quite recall. If I can suss that out, I'll put some details on the screen for you. Headlamp mode automatic, display, backlight, it's already on the highest set. Wow, yeah, it's already on the highest setting. I wanted to make it higher actually, to be honest with you, but clearly it doesn't want to play. That is the maximum. And that's pretty much it. Mostly. It's not all the settings, but it's enough settings for now. Well, I'm glad it's not too heavy, this bike. Getting up off the side stand, off-road, like I was, on this little bit of grass. Took a bit of a heave. But doesn't feel top heavy as you move it around. I don't want to go too far, I don't want my feet to slip. Come tumbling down. Look at this steering lock, by the way. Impressive. Especially that big front wheel as well. You can turn around in any old tight spot. Just have to watch your footwork if you've got little legs. Make sure you don't get unbalanced. Vibrations. I'm trying to think now. When I first set off earlier on from the shop, and I went on a, you know, opened up the bike a little bit, it did feel a little bit vibratory. It did vibrate a little bit, but I haven't really noticed much vibration since. Yeah, I don't think this bike vibrates to an excess at all. Everything's still alive, nothing's tingly, nothing's numb. And unlike a lot of road bikes, you haven't got a fuel tank right next to your, you know, your gonads, right next to your nether regions. So quite often on road bikes, if I'm kind of sat too close to the tank, Mr. Willie goes to sleep. But I don't think there's any such fear of that on this ride, so when I get off, I'll be ready to perform. Anyway, see if I can figure out the traction control. Oh yeah, I'm on. So basically, I always have a bit of trouble with Aprilia traction control, just because I don't use it very often. So you've got this little you have this little lever on the left. You've got to pull it left and hold it to enable the traction control function, and then you've got the green traction control symbol and it starts flashing just to tell you that it's ready, which is a bit annoying. And then you pull it to the left again to engage it, put it to the left again to switch it off, hold the button towards the left to actually turn off the traction control. You can also roll off a throttle to disable traction control, kind of roll it forward past its normal stopping point, which is good. It's all good once you figure it out. I don't know if the cruise control would be maintained with the quick shifter, because I haven't got a quick shifter, so I can't tell you. Can't quite remember if I managed it on the RS. So 70 is about 5,000, just over 5,000 RPM. So it does strike me as slightly high in the rev range for 70 miles an hour. Especially if you are able to cruise at higher speeds, like you know, 90 or 100 miles an hour on the autobahn. Quite a few revs going on there. But if you did that a lot, I suppose you could just change gearing. It's not as if you've got a shaft drive bike after all. Looks like we're going to be stuck behind this truck for the duration. So I suppose I could sum up, couldn't I? Dislikes. Screen, number one. Turbulence. Real shame. That's kind of spoilt this ride to quite a degree when you're going faster. I mean, I've even found at 50 miles an hour with the visor open, there's just too much fluttering, too much turbulence. I'm blinking, I'm squinting constantly. That's at 42, 43 on the clock. So for me, it's difficult to ride with the visor up. And you don't always want to ride with the visor down, especially if it's hotter. Lost something or other, bolt, or whatever it was on the left hand grip. That's a shame. But nothing seems to be snapped or fracturing. Just looked like something was not maybe Loctited into the handlebars, perhaps. What do I like about the bike? I'm surprised and impressed I can get both feet down on the ground easily. I like the seats. The comfort so far, actually, now it's been over an hour, way over an hour. Yeah, no issues from the seat in terms of actual comfort for my buns. The engine does feel a bit more muted than it did in the RS. You know, less power, more weight. But it's a willing performer. It pulls pretty well. Goes quite well past 7 grand and on the way to 10. Not that I did that very often. Good mid-range torque. Quite surprised how willing it was to do a little bit of a whip whip, whip whip, whip whip. Does seem like yeah, road performance was quite high in the agenda when it came to designing this bike. The styling I do like. I like the lights all over. Yeah, I like the look of the bike from the side. Don't know if acid gold would be my thing, but it's not that much of it, so it's not offensively yellow. Does stand out quite a bit without going over the top. So I think if I was shopping for these, I might actually go for this acid gold as opposed to the maybe slightly more anonymous colours. We've got a yellow pad, haven't we, in the centre of this seat. That'll probably mark up with your clothes rubbing all over it over time. That might not be so good. But overall, impressed. Yeah, works better on the road than I expected it to. Sorry that I can't take it off-road, but I warned you about that right at the beginning. And I warned you to switch off, didn't I? There's still no off-road. Shouldn't be here. Go away. It's been a fun ride. And I certainly would take this bike out on a second date. If I had the opportunity to take it off-road, I would jump at it and have a little fun. I've ridden the Yamaha T7 Tenere, and this bike's already got a bit of a leg up on that bike because I do like my electronic toys and I do like my LCD displays on my dash. I think this bike works better on the road than the T7 did. Strikes me as a very capable middleweight bike which can go off-road as well. Yeah, even the mirrors have stayed vibe free. I hadn't talked about it because there was nothing to talk about. That's one thing I haven't done. Hold on a minute. Bear with me, 360 camera. You're about to have to look up. Oh, yeah, that is a good standing riding position. Absolutely, very, very impressive that. I did not have to stoop or lean forward to kind of keep hold of the bars. I stood pretty much perfectly upright and I still had a good hold of the bars. That that was nice. So that promises much for kind of off-road work. I'll do that again. That was so much fun. Oh, that is awesome. Obviously if you're a different height, if you have much longer legs without the longer arms, you might struggle a little bit, but for me, standing up was a doddle. Not at all uncomfortable. So yeah, it's that time of day now. Schools are kicking out, traffic everywhere. So I better say goodbye. Thanks for hanging out with me on this little test ride video. Hope you found it useful. Like I said, I've ridden the T7 as well. I've ridden the other two sister bikes to this one. So have a good look around on my channel where you'll find this bike and pretty much all the other bikes I've test ridden over the last 3 years, I think, nearly. Motorbike reviews is one of the things I do. Vlogging type videos I also make. Also go on little adventures. A bit of off-road riding here, track day there, that sort of thing. You'll see it if you look around my channel. And if you start watching those and start liking what I do, then I very much appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I'm uploading new content. Spot on. Thanks again to these dudes.